Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, shall I start with the pranam mantras?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Somebody can start the pranam mantra.
Okay,
Followed
Mataji.
by the screen share. Rachayita, please do the screen share for today.
Shall I start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Om Ajnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaya Kadamayyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshitarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rachayita. Are we not in chapter 36?
Okay, shall I start reading, Mataji?
Mataji, can you see my screen?
Yes, Mataji, it is visible.
Yeah, it is visible now.
Okay.
Yeah, please start now.
Okay,
Yes,
Mataji.
Okay.
Transcendental affection, servitude. The transcendental mellow of affection has been accepted by the authorities like Sridhara Swami as the perfectional stage of devotion. It is just above the humor of neutrality and is a requisite for the development of serving humor. In literature such as Nama Kaumuda, Nama Kaumudi, this state of existence is accepted as continuous affection for or attraction to Krishna. Authorities like Sukadeva consider this stage of affection to be in the neutral stage, but in any case, this affection is relished by the devotees in different transcendental tastes, and therefore the general name for this state of affection or pure affection for Krishna. Devotees engaged in servitude are attached to Krishna in the affection of reverence. Some of the inhabitants of Gokula, Vrindavan, as exhibited on earth, are attached to Krishna on this platform of affection in reverence. The inhabitants of Vrindavan used to say, Krishna is always manifest before us with a complexion like a blackish cloud. He holds his wonderful flute in his lotus hands. He is dressed in yellow silk and bedecked with a peacock feather on his head. When Krishna walks near Govardhana hill with these personal features, all the inhabitants of the heavenly planets as well as the inhabitants of earth feel transcendental bliss and consider themselves the eternal servants of the Lord. Sometimes the devotees become filled with the same awe and reverence by seeing a picture of Vishnu, who is dressed like Krishna and who has similar complexion. The only difference is that Vishnu has four hands in which he holds the conch shell, that is, the club and the lotus flower. Lord Vishnu is always decorated with many valuable jewels, such as the Chandrakanta stone and Suryakanta stone. Can you scroll up?
Okay. 1 second. Where? This one? This one, Mataji?
Yeah. Can you scroll it? Yeah. In
Is
the
it-
Lalita Madhava, yes, it's correct.
Okay.
In Lalita Madhava of Rupa Goswami, there is the following statement by Daruka, one of the servants of Krishna. Certainly, Lord Vishnu is very beautiful with his necklace of Kaustuba jewels, his four hands holding conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, and his dazzlingly beautiful jewelry. He is also very beautiful in his eternal position, riding upon the shoulders of Garuda. But now the same Lord Vishnu is present as the enemy of Kamsa, and by his personal feature, I am completely forgetting the opulence of Vaikuntha. Another devotee once said, this Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose bodily pores come millions of universe permanently rising, who is the ocean of mercy, who is the owner of inconceivable energy, who is always equipped with all perfections, who is the origin of all incarnations, who is the attraction for all liberated persons. This very supreme personality of Godhead is the supreme controller and supremely worshipable. He is all cognizant, fully determined, and fully opulent. He is the emblem of forgiveness and protector of surrendered souls. He is munificent, true to his promise, expert, all auspicious, powerful, and religious. He is strict follower of scriptures. He is the friend of devotees, and he is magnanimous, influential, grateful, reputable, respectful, full of all strength, and submissive to pure love. Surely he is the only shelter of devotees who are attracted to him by the affections of servitorship. The devotees of the Lord in servitude are divided into four classes: appointed servants, such as Brahma and Lord Shiva, who are appointed to control the material modes of passion and ignorance; devotees in servitude, who are protected by the Lord; devotees who are always associates; and devotees who are simply following in the footsteps of the Lord. Can you scroll up?
Okay. Can you see?
Yeah. Appointed servants. In the conversation between Jambuati, one of Krishna's wife, and Kalindi, her friend, Jambuati inquired, who is this personally circumambulating our Krishna? Kalindi replied, she is Ambika, the superintendent of all universal affairs. Then Jambavati inquired, who is this personality who is trembling at the sight of Krishna? Kalindi replied, he is Lord Shiva. Then Jambavati inquired, who is the person offering prayers? Kalindi replied, he is Lord Brahma. Jambavati then asked, who is that person who has fallen on the ground and is offering respect to Krishna? Kalindi replied, he is Indra, the king of heaven. Jambavati next inquired, who is the person who has come with the demigods and is laughing with them? Kalindi replied, he is my elder brother, Yamaraja, the superintendent of death. This conversation offers a description of all demigods, including Yamaraja, who are engaged in service appointed by the Lord. They are called Adhikrita Devata. or demigods appointed to particular type of departmental service, devotee under protection and shelter of the Lord. One resident of Vrindavan once told Lord Krishna, "My dear Krishna, O pleasure of Vrindavan, being afraid of this material existence, we have taken shelter of you, and for you can completely protect us. We are well aware of your greatness. Such as such, we have given up our desires for liberation and have taken complete shelter under your lotus feet. Since we have heard about your ever increasing transcendental love, and we have voluntarily engaged ourselves in your transcendental service." The statement is by a devotee who is under the protection and shelter of Lord Krishna. Upon being chastised by Krishna's constant kicking on his head, Kalia, the black snake of the Yamuna, came to his senses and admitted, "My dear Lord, I have been so offensive unto you, but still you are so kind that you have marked up my head with the impressions of your lotus feet." This is also an instance of one's taking shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna. In the Aparadha Bhajana, a pure devotee expresses his feelings, "My dear Lord, I am ashamed to admit before you that I have carried out the orders of my masters, named lust, anger, avarice, illusion, and envy. Sometimes I have carried out their orders in a way most abominable. Yet, in spite of my serving them so faithfully, they are not satisfied, nor are they kind enough to give me relief from their service. They are not even ashamed of taking service from me in that way. My dear Lord, O the head of the Yadu dynasty, now I have come to my senses and I am taking shelter of your lotus feet. Please engage me in your service." This is the another instance of surrendering and taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. There are many instances in which, in the various Vedic writings of persons who were aspiring after liberation by speculative knowledge, but gave up this process in order to take complete shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna. Examples of such persons are the Brahmanas headed by Shaunaka in the forest of Naimisharanya. Learned scholars accept them as devotees having complete wisdom. There is a statement in Haribhakta Sudhodaya in which these great Brahmanas and sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi told Sutta Goswami, "My dear great soul, just see how wonderful it is, although as human beings we are contaminated with so many taints of material existence, simply by our conversing with you about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are now gradually decrying our desire for liberation." These are Brahmanas to whom Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Sutta Goswami as described in the author Srimad Bhagavatam first canto first chapter. In the Padyavali, a devotee says, "Person who are attached to speculative knowledge for self-realization, who have decided that the supreme truth is beyond meditation, and who have thus become situated in the mode of goodness, let them peacefully execute their engagement. As for us, we are simply attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is by nature so pleasing, who possesses a complexion like a blackish cloud, who is dressed in yellow garments, and who has beautiful lotus like eyes. We wish only to meditate upon him. Those who are from the sim- uh, those who are from the very beginning of their self-realization attached to devotional service are called seva nishtha. Seva nishtha means simply attached to the devotional service. The best example of such devotee are Lord Shiva,
Shiva.
King Indra, King Bahulasva, King Ikshvaku, Shrutadeva, and Pondarika. One devotee says, "My dear Lord, your transcendental qualities attract even the liberated souls and carry them to the assembly of devotees, where your glories are constantly chanted. Even great sages who are accustomed to live, living in solitary places, are also attracted by the songs of your glory. And observing all your transcendental qualities, I have also become attracted and have decided to dedicate my life to your loving service. Mataji, can you continue?
I'll continue. Hare Krishna. The constant associates. In the city of Dwarka, the following devotees are known as Krishna's close associates: Uddhava, Dwarka, Satya, Shaktaki, Sudadeva, Shatrujit, Nanda, Upananda, and Bhadra. All of these personalities remain with the Lord as his secretaries, but still they are sometimes engaged in his personal service. Among the Kuru dynasty, Bhishma, Maharaja Parikshit, and Vidura are also known as close associates of Lord Krishna. It is said all the associates of Lord Krishna have lustrous bodily features and their eyes are like the lotus flowers. They have sufficient power to defeat the strength of the demigods, and a specific feature of their persons is that they are always decorated with valuable ornaments. When Krishna was in the capital Indraprastha, someone addressed him thus: "My dear Lord, your personal associates, headed by Uddhava, are always awaiting your order by standing at the entrance gate of Dwarka. They are mostly looking on with the tears in their eyes, and in the enthusiasm of the service, they are not afraid even of the devastating fire generated by Lord Shiva. Their souls simply surrendered unto your lotus feet. Out of many close associates of Lord Krishna, Uddhava is considered the best. The following is a description of him. His body is blackish like that of Yamuna River. Of the Yamuna River, it is similarly as cool. He is always decorated with the flower garlands first used by Lord Krishna. He's dressed with yellow silk clothing. His two arms are like the bolts of a door. His eyes are like lotus flowers, and he is the most important devotee among all the associates. Let us therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto Uddhava's lotus feet. Uddhava had described the transcendental qualities of Sri Krishna as follows. Lord Sri Krishna, who is a master and worshipable deity, the controller of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, and the controller of the whole universe as well, accepts the controlling orders of Ugrasena, his grandfather. He is the proprietor of millions of universes, but still he begged a little land from the ocean. Although he is just like an ocean of wisdom. He sometimes consults me. He is so great and magnanimous, and yet he is engaged in his different activities just like an ordinary person. Followers of the Lord. Those who are constantly engaged in the personal service of the Lord are called anugas or followers. Example of such followers are Suchandra, Mandana, Stamba, and Sutamba. They are all inhabitants of the city of Dwarka, and they are dressed and ornamented like the other associates. The different services entrusted to the anugas are varied. Mandana always bears the umbrella over the head of Lord Krishna. Suchandra is engaged in fanning with the white chamara bunch of hair, and Sutamba is always engaged in supplying betel nuts. All of them are great devotees. They are always busy in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As there are Anugas in Dwarka, so there are many Anugas in Vrindavana also. The names of the Anugas in Vrindavana are Raktaka, Patraka, Patri, Madhukantha, Madhuvrata, Rasala, Suvilasa, Premakanda, Marandaka, Ananda, Chandrahasa, Payoda, Bakula, Rasada, and Shraddha. Descriptions of the bodily features of the Anugas in Vrindavan are given in the following statement. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the constant associates of the son of Maharaja Nanda. They are always they always stay in Vrindavana, and their bodies are decorated with garlands of pearls with bangles and bracelets of gold. The colors are like black bees and the golden moon. They are dressed just to suit their particular special bodily features. Their specific duties can be understood from a statement by Mother Yashoda who said, Bakula, please cleanse the yellow dress of Krishna. Varaka, you just flavor the bathing water with agur scent. uh, and uh, and Rasala, you just prepare the betel nuts. You can all see that Krishna is approaching. There is dust overhead, and the cows can be seen very distinctly. Among all the Anukas, Raktaka is considered to be the chief. The description of his bodily features is as follows. He wears yellow clothing and his bodily color is light, just like the newly grown grass. He is very expert in singing and always engaged in the service of the son of Maharaja Nanda. Let us all become the followers of Raktaka in offering transcendental loving service to Krishna. An example of attachment felt by Raktaka uh, towards Lord Krishna can be understood from his statement to Rasada, just hear me, please place me so that I may be engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, who has now become famous as the lifter of the Govardhana hill. The devotees of Krishna engaged in his personal service are always very cautious because they know that becoming personal servitors of Lord Krishna is not an ordinary thing. A person who offers respect even to the ants engaged in the service of the Lord becomes eternally happy. So, what is there to say of one who offers Krishna's direct service? Rataka once said within himself, not only is Krishna my worshipable and serviceable Lord, but also the girlfriends of Krishna, the gopis, are equally worshipable and serviceable by me. And not only the gopis, but anyone who is engaged in the service of the Lord is also worshipable and servable by me. I know that I must be very careful not to become overly proud that I am one of the servitors and devotees of the Lord. From this statement, one can understand that the pure devotees, those who are actually engaged in the service of the Lord, are very anxious and are never are very cautious, and are never overly proud of this service. My pardon me. This mentality of the direct servitor of Krishna is called Dhuriya. According to the expert analytic studies of the direct associates of the Lord, Srila Rupa Goswami has divided these into three classes, namely Dhuriya, Dhira, and Vira. Raktaka is classified among the Dhuriya, or those who are always attached to serving the most loved, the beloved gopis. One Dhira associate of Krishna is the son of Satyabhama's nurse. Satyabhama is one of the queens of Lord Krishna in Dwarka, and when she was married to Krishna, the son of her nurse was allowed to go with her because they had lived together from childhood as a brother and sister. So this gentleman, the son of Satyabhama's nurse, used to live with Krishna and as his brother-in-law, and sometimes as a brother-in-law he would play jokes with Krishna. He once addressed Krishna in this way, My dear Krishna, I never try to gain the favor of the goddess of fortune who is married to you, but still I am so fortunate that I am considered one of the members of your house, the brother of Satyabhama. A Vira associate once expressed his pride declaring Lord Baladeva may be a greatest enemy of pra, Pralambasura, but I have nothing to worry from him. And as far as Pradyumna is concerned, I have nothing to take from him because he is a simple boy. Therefore, I do not expect anything from anyone else. I simply expect the favorable glance of Krishna upon me, and so I am not even afraid of Satyabhama, who is dear to Krishna. In the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 20th chapter, verse 28, King Kritu addresses the Lord, saying, my dear Lord, it may happen that the goddess of fortune becomes dissatisfied with my word, or I may even have some misunderstanding with her, but I will not mind this because I have full confidence in you. You are always causelessly merciful to your servants, and you consider even their menial service to be very much advanced. So I have confidence that you will accept my humble service, although it is not worthy of being recognized. My dear Lord, you are self sufficient. You can do anything you like without the help of anyone else. So, even if the goddess of fortunes are satisfied with me, I know that you will always accept my service anyway. Devotees attached to the transcendental loving service of the Lord may be described either as surrendered souls, as souls advanced in devotional knowledge, or as souls completely engaged in transcendental loving service. Such devotees are called respectively neophytes, perfect, and eternally perfect. Hare Krishna. Impetus for Krishna's service. The, okay. The causeless mercy of Krishna, the dust of his lotus feet, his sorry, Hare Krishna. The causeless mercy of Krishna, the dust of his lotus feet, his prasada, and association with his devotees are some of the impetus towards a devotee's engagement in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Krishna exhibited his causeless mercy when he was present at the departure of grandfather Bhishma. During the battle of Kurukshetra, Bhishma Deva, the grandfather of Arjuna, was lying on a bed of arrows before departing from his mortal world. When Lord Krishna, Maharaja Yudhishthira, and the other Pandavas approached Bhishma Deva, he was very grateful to Lord Krishna and he addressed the Brahmana military commander Kripacharya thus, my dear Kripacharya, just see the wonderful causeless mercy of Lord Krishna. I am most unfortunate. I have no qualification. I was opposing Krishna's most intimate friend Arjuna. I even tried to kill him. I have so many disqualifications, and yet the Lord is still so kind that He has come to see me at the last point of my life. He is worshipable by the great sages, but still He is so merciful that He has come to see to see an abominable person like me. Sometimes the vibrations of Krishna's flute, his buggling, his smiling, his footmarks on the ground, the transcendent fragrance of his body, and the appearance of a new cloud in the sky also becomes impetus for ecstatic love of him. In the Vidagha Madhava, there is a following statement: when Krishna was playing on his flute, Baladeva very anxiously declared, just see how, after hearing the transcendental sound of Krishna's flute, Indra, the king of heaven, is crying in his heavenly kingdom, and from his teardrop falling on the ground, Vrindavana appears to have become a celestial residence for the demigod. Ecstatic love for Krishna is also known as Anubhava. Is uh, symptomized by the following signs. One becomes engaged exclusively in the service of the Lord, being attentive to carry out the orders of the Lord faithfully. One becomes undisturbed and not envious in full transcendental loving service to the Lord, and one marks friendship but the devotees of the Lord were situated in faithful service to him. All these symptoms are called Anubhava, ecstatic love. The first symptom of Anubhava in a particular type of service is exemplified by Daruka, a servant of Krishna who used to fan Krishna with a chamara, a bunch of hair. When he was engaged in the service, he was filled with ecstatic love, and the symptoms of ecstatic love became manifest in his body. But Daruka was so serious about his service that he checked all of these manifestations of ecstatic love and considered them hindrances to his engagement. He did not care very much for these manifestations, although they automatically developed. Saujanya Mataji, could you read from here? Saujanya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Could you read from here in the Srimad Bhagavatam?
In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 86th chapter, verse 38, there is a statement of how Shrutadeva, a Brahmana from the country called Mithila in North India, became so overpowered with joy as soon as he saw Krishna that immediately after bowing to the Lord's lotus feet, he stood up and began to dance, raising his two arms above his head. One of the devotees of Lord Krishna once addressed him in this manner: My dear Lord, although you are not a professional dancer, by your dancing you have so astonished us that we can understand that you are personally the master of all dancing. Certainly, you must have learned this dancing art directly from the goddess of love. When a devotee dances in ecstatic love, there are manifestation of symptoms which are called satvika. Satvika means that they are from the transcendental platform. They are not symptoms of material emotion. They come from the soul proper. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 85th chapter, verse 38, Sukadeva Goswami tells Maharaja Parikshit that after surrendering everything unto the lotus feet of Vamana Deva, Bali Maharaja immediately caught hold of the lotus feet of the Lord and pressed them to his heart. Being overwhelmed with joy, he manifested all the symptoms of ecstatic love with tears in his eyes and a faltering voice. In such expressions of ecstatic love, there are many other subsidiary symptoms such as jubilation, withering, silence, disappointment, moroseness, reverence, thoughtfulness, remembrance, doubtfulness, confidence, eagerness, indifference, restlessness, impudence, shyness, inertness, illusion, madness, ghastliness, contemplation, dreaming, disease, and signs of death. When a devotee meets Krishna, there are symptoms of jubilation, pride, and perseverance. And Mataji, could you scroll up? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, could you scroll up? Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please scroll up.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, am I audible to you?
Yeah, audible.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Mataji.
Yeah, because I'm not able to hear anything.
Mataji, Rachita Mataji has to scroll it up. It was stopped a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Somebody is willing to do the screen share. I'll make them.
Mataji,
Actually,
Mataji, I'm back. Actually, I was little busy. Which canto, which paragraph should I go?
okay,
Till
okay.
perseverance I have read, Mataji.
Where did you read from? I'm so
Last,
sorry, I was not there.
last paragraph, last sentence, perseverance, Mataji.
1 second. Just stop me, okay?
Yeah, here.
This one? In the Skanda Purana? This one?
Little bit up, Mataji.
This one?
No.
This one? Is this correct?
Up.
This one?
You have read till perseverance.
Oh, preserve.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop, Mataji.
Okay. In the insert expressions paragraph, no?
And in great separation from Krishna, the symptoms of ghastliness, disease, and signs of death become prominent. It is stated in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, verse 5, that when Lord Krishna returned from the battlefield of Kurukshetra to his home at Dwaraka, all the residents of Dwaraka began to talk with him as a child talks lovingly to his father after the father's return from the foreign countries. This is an example of jubilation. When Bahulashva, the king of Mithila, saw Krishna at his palace, he decided to offer his respects by bowing down before him at least 100 times. But he was so overcome by feelings of love that after bowing down only once, he forgot his position and could not rise again. In Skanda Purana, a devotee tells Lord Krishna, "My dear Lord, as the sun evaporates all the water on the ground by its scorching heat, so my mental state has dried away the luster of my face and body due to separation from you. This is an example of withering and ecstatic love." An expression of disappointment was made by Indra, the king of heaven. When he saw the sun god, Indra told him, "My dear sun god, your sunshine is very glorious because it reaches unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, the master of the Yadu dynasty. I have thousands of eyes, but they have proved to be useless because not even for a moment are they able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Reverential devotion for the Lord gradually increases and transforms itself into ecstatic love, then affection, and then attachment. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 38th chapter, verse 8, Akrura says, "Because I am going to see Lord Krishna today, all symptoms of inauspiciousness have already been killed. My life is now successful because I shall be able to offer my respects unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Another devotee, in ecstatic reverential affection, once said, "When will that glorious day in my life come when it will be possible for me to go to the bank of Yamuna and see Lord Sri Krishna playing there as a cowherd boy?" When there is no diminishing of this ecstatic love and when it is freed from all kinds of doubt, the devotee has reached the stage called steady love for Krishna. In this stage, all expressions of unhappiness by the devotee are called anubhava or ecstatic loving symptoms. The symptom of ecstatic affection with reverence felt by Bali Maharaja was expressed as follows: "My dear Lord, you have simultaneously punished me and showed me your causeless mercy. My conclusion is that when I have taken shelter of your lotus feet, I shall never be disturbed in any condition of life. Whether you give me the opportunity to enjoy all the yogic perfections or you put me into the most abominable condition of hellish life, I shall never be disturbed." Krishna himself, after seeing Bali Maharaja, told Uddhava, "My dear friend, how can I express the glorious characteristics of Bali Maharaja, the son of Virokana? Although the king of Suras, demigods, was cursed by this son of Virokana, and although I cheated him in my incarnation as Vamana, taking away his dominions throughout the universe, and although I slew him in my still criticized him for not fulfilling his promise. I have just now seen his kingdom, and he feelingly expressed his love for me. Bali was a king of the demons who waged war against the demigods and nearly conquered the universe. When the demigods prayed for help, the Lord appeared as Vamanadeva, a dwarf Brahmana, and asked Bali for 3 paces of land. Bali agreed, and Vamana covered all the worlds with his first 2 footsteps. Then he demanded to know where his third pace was to be. Bali offered his own head beneath the Lord's foot and thus became a Mahajana or great devotee. When such a feeling of love becomes intensified, it is called affection. In that affectional stage, one cannot bear separation from Krishna even for a moment. One devotee told Daruka, the servant of Krishna, "My dear Daruka, when you become like wood because of your separation from Krishna, it is not so wonderful. Whenever any devotee sees Krishna, his eyes become filled with water, and in separation, any devotee like you would become stunned, standing just like a wooden doll. That is not a very wonderful thing." There is a statement about Uddava's symptoms of love. When he saw Lord Krishna, his eyes filled with tears and created a river that flowed down towards the sea of Krishna to offer tribute as a wife offers tribute to her husband. When his body erupted with goose pimples, he appeared like the Kadamba flower. And when he began to offer prayers, he appeared completely distinct from all other devotees. When affection is symptomized by direct happiness and distress, it is called attraction. In such an attracted state of ecstatic love, one can face all kinds of disadvantages calmly. Even at the risk of death, such a devotee is never bereft of the transcendental.
Loving service of the Lord.
One second. Okay.
Can you see the screen, Mataji?
Loving service of the Lord. A glorious example of this ecstatic love was exhibited by King Parikshit when he was at the point of death. Although he was bereft of his entire kingdom, which spread all over the world, and although he was accepting not even a drop of water in the 7 days remaining to him, because he was engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord from Sukadeva Goswami, he was not in the least distressed. On the contrary, he was feeling direct transcendental ecstatic joy in association with Sukadeva Goswami. One devotee has confidently expressed this opinion: "If a drop of Lord Krishna's mercy can be bestowed upon me, then I shall feel completely carefree, even in the midst of fire or an ocean. But if I become bereft of his causeless mercy, then even if I become the king of Dwaraka, I would simply be an object of pinpricks." Devotees such as Maharaja Parikshit and Uddhava are all situated in ecstatic attraction on the basis of affection. And in the state of affection, a feeling of friendship becomes manifest. When Uddhava was freed from all material contamination, he saw the Lord, and his throat became choked up, and he could not speak. By the movements of his eyebrows alone, he was embracing the Lord. Such ecstatic love has been divided by great scholars into 2 groups: addition and subtraction. If a devotee is not directly associated with the Lord, it is called subtraction. In this state of love, one is constantly fixed with his mind at the lotus feet of the Lord. A devotee in this state becomes very eager to learn of the transcendental qualities of the Lord. The most important business of such a devotee is attaining the association of the Lord.
1 second, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. Now continue. Mataji, should I continue?
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
and
the
then
nurse
you just
or
finish it off.
Prabhuji.
Better you finish it off, Soujanya Mataji.
Okay, shall I continue then?
Yeah. Yes, Mataji can continue.
In the Narsimha Purana, there is a statement about King Ikshvaku which illustrates this state of ecstatic love. Because of his great affection for Krishna, King Ikshvaku became greatly attached to the black cloud, black deer, deer's black eyes, and the lotus flower, which is always compared to the eyes of the Lord. In the 10th canto, 38th chapter, verse 10 of Bhagavatam, Akrura thinks, since the Lord has now appeared to diminish the great burden of the world and is now visible to everyone's eyes in his personal transcendental body, when we see him before us, is that not the ultimate perfection of our eyes? In other words, Akrura realized that the perfection of the eyes is fulfilled when one is able to see the Lord Krishna. Therefore, when Lord Krishna was visible on earth by direct appearance, everyone who saw him surely attained perfection of sight. In the Krishna Karnamrita, written by Bilvamangala Thakura, there is expression of eagerness and ecstatic love. How miserable it is, my dear Krishna, O friend of the hopeless, O merciful Lord. how can I pass these thankless days without seeing you? A similar sentiment was expressed by Uddhava when he wrote a letter to Krishna and said, My dear Supreme King of Vraja, you are the vision of nectar for the eyes, and without seeing your lotus feet and the effulgence of your body, my mind is always morose. I cannot perceive any peace under any circumstance. Besides that, I am feeling every moment's separation to be like the duration of many, many long years. In the Krishna Karnamrita, it is also said, My dear Lord, hear the ocean of mercy. With my arms placed upon my head, I am bowing down before you with all humility and sincerity. I am praying unto you, my Lord, would you be pleased just to sprinkle a little of the water of your glance upon me? That will be a great satisfaction. A devotee of Lord Krishna said, when even Shashi Shekhara, Lord Shiva, is unable to see you, what chance is there for me, who am lower than ordinary worm? I have only committed misdeeds. I know that I am not at all fit to offer my prayers to you, but because you are known as Deenabandhu, the friend of the fallen, I humbly pray that you will kindly purify me by the beams of your transcendental glance. If I become thoroughly bathed by your merciful glance, then I may be saved. Therefore, my Lord, I am requesting you to please bestow upon me your merciful glance. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Now
Available
shall I
for
read Mataji?
yeah, Mati, yeah, Prabhuji. You can. Can you see my screen?
Chapter 38, Indifference and Separation. The great devotee Uddhava once wrote a letter to Krishna. My dear Krishna, I have just finished the study of all kinds of philosophical books and Vedic verses about the goal of life and so on. I have a little reputation for my studies, but still, in spite of the reputation, my knowledge is condemned because although enjoying the effulgence of Vedic knowledge, I could not appreciate the effulgence emitting from the nails of your toes. Therefore, the sooner my pride in the Vedic knowledge are finished, the better it will be. This is an example of indifference. Another devotee very anxiously expressed himself thus, My mind is very flickering, so I cannot concentrate it upon your lotus feet. And seeing this inefficiency in myself, I become ashamed, and the whole night I am unable to sleep because I am expert by my great inability. In the Krishna Kamratra Bilvamangala, Thakur have explained his restless as follows. My dear Lord, your naughtiness in boyhood is the most wonderful thing in the three words, and you yourself know what is naughtiness is. As such, you can very easily understand my flickering mind. This is no to you and me. Therefore, I'm simply yearning to know how I can fix my mind on your lotus feet. And the devotee expressed his impudence by saying, My dear Lord, without considering my lowly position, I must confess to you that my eyes are just like black wax desiring to hover at your lotus feet. In the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth chapter, verse 37, the great sage Narada informs Maharaja Yudhishthir about Prahlad Maharaj, who was a devotee from the very beginning of his life. The proof of Prahlad natural devotion is that even when he was a very small child, he did not play with his playmates, but he always eager to preach the glories of Lord instead of joining in their sportive aerobatic feats. He became an inactive child because he is always in trance, meditating on Krishna. As such, there was no possibility of his being touched by the external world. The following statement is about the Brahma devotee. The Brahmana is very expert in all kind of activities, but I do not know why he is looking up without moving his eyes. It appears that his body is fixed motionless, just like a doll's. I can guess that in this condition he can be being captivated by the transcendental beauty of that expert flute player Shri Krishna and being attracted to him. He is simply starting at the back cloud, remembering the bodily hue of Shri Krishna. This is an example of how a devotee can become inert due to ecstatic love. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 4th chapter, verse 40, Prahlad Maharaj says that even in his childhood, when he was loudly speaking the glories of the Lord, he used to dance just like a shameless madman, and sometimes being fully absorbed in thought of the pastime of the Lord, he used to intimate such pastime. This is an instance of a devotee being almost like a madman. Similarly, it is said that the great sage Narada was so ecstatically in love with Krishna that he would sometimes dance naked and sometimes his whole body would become stunned. Sometimes he would laugh very loudly, sometimes he would cry very loudly, sometimes he remained silent, and sometimes he would appear to be suffering from some disease. Although he has no disease, this is another instance of becoming like a madman in the asceticism of devotion. In the Hari Bhakti Sadodaya, it is stated that when Prahlad Maharaj was thinking himself unfit to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he he immersed himself into the he immersed himself in great distress in the ocean of unhappiness. As such, he used to shed tears and lie down on the floor as thought unconscious. That the students of the great devotee once talk among themselves in this way, my dear God brothers, our spiritual master, after seeing the lotus feet of the Lord, he thrown himself into the fire of lamentation, and because of this fire, the water of his life is almost dried away. Let us know, pour the nectar of his holy name through his ears, and by doing so, the swan of his life may again show sign of life. When Lord Krishna went to the city of Sonitapura to fight with Bali son Banna and to cut all of his hands, Uddhava being separated from Krishna and thinking of his wife was almost completely stunned into unconsciousness. When a devotee is fully in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there may be the following symptoms due to his feelings of separation from the Lord: a feverish condition of the body, withering of the body, lack of sleep, non attachment, inertness, appearing diseased, madness, unconsciousness, and sometimes death. As far as the feverish condition of the body is concerned, Uddhava once told to Narada, my dear great sage, the lotus flower, that is a friend of the sun, may be cause of distress for us, as the fire in the ocean may cause us some burning sensation and endeavor, and the friend of the moon may distress us in many ways. We do not mind. But the most regrettable factor is that all of the reminders of Krishna, and this is giving us too much distress. This is an instance of the feverish condition which is due to being separated from Krishna. Some of the devotees who went to see Krishna at Dwaraka and were detained at the door said, my dear Krishna, O friend of the Pandus, and the swan loves to dive into the water among the lily flower and will die if taken from the water. So we wish only to be with you. Our limbs are shrinking and fading because you have been taken away from us. The king of Bahula, although very comfortably situated in palace, began to think the night very long and distressing because of his separation from Krishna. Mataji, can you please increase the font?
Okay. Yeah. Prabhuji, could you tell me how it is done?
King Yudhishthir once said, Krishna, the carrier driver of Arjuna, is the only relative of mine within the three worlds. Mataji, can you please increase the font little bit?
Okay, 1 second.
Therefore, my mind is becoming maddened day and night with separation from his lotus feet, and I do not know how to situate myself or where I shall go to attain any steadiness of mind. This is another example of lack of speed. Some of the coward friend of Krishna said, dear Krishna, O enemy of the Mura demon, just think of your personal servant Ratika, simply because he saw a peacock feather, he is now closing his eyes and he is no longer attentive to pasturing the cows. Rather, he has left them in a faraway pasture and he has not bothered to use his sticks to control them. This is an instance of mental imbalance due to separation from Krishna. When Lord Krishna went to the capital of King Yudhishthira, Uddhava was so affiliated by the fire of separation from Shri Krishna, that is, perspiration from the inflamed body and the tears from his eyes poured from him, and in this way he becomes completely stunned. When, when Shri Krishna left the city of Dwaraka to seek over the Samyak jewel and he was late returning home, Uddhava became so affected and that the symptom of disease became manifest on his body actually due to his excessive ascetic love for Krishna. Uddhava became known as Dwarka as Cry. To his great fortune on that day, Uddhava's reputation as a crazy fellow was firmly established. Uddhava craziness was practically proved when he went to Revataka Hill to, to, minute, to minutely observe the
I
consistent
guess.
black clouds. In his disturbed condition, he began to pray to these clouds and he expressed his jubilation by bowing down before them. Uddhava informed Krishna, my dear leader of the Yadu dynasty, your servants in Vrindavan cannot sleep at night thinking of you. So now they are all lying down on the bank of the Yamuna, almost paralyzed, and it appears that they are almost dead because their breathing is very slow. This is an instance of becoming unconscious due to separation from Krishna. Krishna was one informed, you are the life, the soul of the all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So because you left the Vrindavan, all the servitors of lotus feet from the suffering, it is as if lakes filled with lotus flowers have dried up from the scorching heat of separation from you. In the example given here, the inhabitants of Vrindavan are compared to lakes filled with lotus flowers, and because of the scorching heat of separation from Krishna, the lakes, along with the lotus flowers of the lives, are being burned up, and the swans in the lakes, who are compared to the volatility of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, are no longer desiring to live there. In other words, because of the scorching heat, the swans are leaving the lakes. The metaphor is used to describe the condition of the devotee separated from Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Should I continue?
Hare Krishna. How many chapters we have completed today?
We did 3 chapters today.
3 chapters. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. You wish to continue or because we missed one session, no?
Yes.
Yeah, have to cover it up next time. So shall we do next weekend?
Okay,
Yeah,
Mataji,
Mataji.
as you
Yes,
wish.
Mataji.
Yeah. Okay, fine then. We'll conclude.
Mataji, when do we have the next Ekadashi?
Yeah, very nice, Vaibhav. But please be on time, no?
Yeah, so sorry. Mataji, when do we have next Ekadashi?
I think I exactly don't know. 11th, no, maybe somewhere around 20s.
25th.
Huh?
25th, Mataji, I'm asking.
Yeah, maybe I have to see the Vaishnava calendar, but be prepared for that also. You
Yeah,
log in
Mataji.
before only. See, because it's a 3 hours long Ekadasi recitation will go on. We'll get exhausted, if we don't start on time.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Mataji,
Yeah.
how was my recitation?
Very nice, Rachayita. It was a bit chaotic, no? The temple authorities thought they will add somebody, but few people were helpful. That I don't remember the girl name. She recited 3-4 chapters, no? What is her name? She was of help.
Savitha.
No, Savita is the she's the co-host, no? That chapter number 17.
Sharmishta.
Oh no, Shramita is our student only. Okay. Only except for one additional this thing we missed on Aman, Prasid, Jigyasa. So these 3 people they didn't join, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji, they did.
Yeah. Sapna also didn't join.
Yes.
So it was nothing fruitful, I can say. But maybe they were thinking that we are not giving a fair chance to all. So they made an attempt, but Devika Mataji told ki no, you do how you wanted to do it with your own volunteers. Okay, so maybe the next Ekadashi also the same scenario will be there, but be prepared and tell everyone to participate so that in case of crisis situation, we need them for the recitation.
Yes, Mataji, I agree. And Mataji, next Ekadasi, I'll do my normal chapters 3 and 4. Because
Yeah.
I'm just telling you in beforehand, I'll do 3 and 4 chapters. Number
But
3.
one request from my side is that try to do it in a song form, rather than reading.
Okay.
So practice like that. Now that you are well versed in reading the slokas, if you do it in a song form, because it's a public forum, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji, I agree. I'll learn.
Practice little bit, maybe 4 or 5 slokas in a day. You practice. Definitely, if you get one, then the rest of the things will become easier.
Yes, Mataji. I just got stuck in the meter 8 and meter 11, so I got little confused because I'm not habitual to it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. Just to practice, no? Take 1 or 2 slokas and practice that. If you practice one meter 8 and meter 11, then the rest of the things will become easier.
okay, Mataji, I'll do it.
Yeah. Vaibhav, you wanted to try this time any chapter, short chapter, having 20 slokas?
Mataji, I'm not good at recitation shloka.
Oh, okay.
I am
So,
trying at home nowadays.
okay. Mhm. I'm just asking, you can give it a try. Like 12 chapter. We have very quite 15 few chapters are there. Or it's your what is it? Volunteer. If you are volunteering, it's not a compulsion. Okay.
Yeah, Mataji.
Yeah. I think anything to be discussed apart from this?
No, no, Mataji.
Extremely
I
sorry, I was not able to put on my video. I'm still outside.
Okay, no
Apologies
problem,
for the
Mataji.
inconvenience.
It's okay. We understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody can say the Narsimati.
Mataji, may I?
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Namaste Narasimhaya Praladladayini Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Yato Narsinha Parato Narsinha Yato Yami Tato Narsinha Pahe Narsinha Hridaye Narsinha Narsingha Papadim Sharanam Papadim Tava Karakamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadita Narhari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsinga Dev Jaya Narsinga Dev Jaya Narsinga Dev Jaya Narsinga Dev Jaya Jayo Prahlad Narsinga Jayo Prahlad Narsinga Jayo Prahlad Narsinga Jayo Prahlad Narsinga Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, Patita Pavan Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, नरसिम्हा भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, हरि बोल, हरे कृष्ण माता जी.
Yeah. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Thank you, co-host and participant, for your active participation. See you all next weekend. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare
माता जी.
Krishna, Mataji.